Israel is in talks with other countries about putting their displaced Palestinians into other countries. This is a very controversial issue. We're going to get into the left, the right, see what's going on. Here, according to CNN, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says talks are underway with several countries about taking in Palestinians displaced by the war in Gaza. So Israel is fighting with Hamas inside of the Gaza Strip. Recently, Israel said that they're going to take over all of Gaza by October 7th of 2025, and that they're going to take the Palestinians who live in Gaza and put them in other countries or in other areas of Israel where Palestinians lived. The countries involved in these negotiations right now are South Sudan, Somaliland, Ethiopia, Libya, Indonesia, in exchange for taking in some of Gaza's population of more than 2 million people. So 2 million people live on this little strip of land. The officials said the countries are looking for significant financial and international compensation. That's kind of you can see that a theme around these countries, that they could definitely use some economic help, especially from Israel. On Wednesday, South Sudan rejected an AP report that said it was in discussions with the resettlement of Palestinians, saying in the statement the reports were baseless and do not reflect the official position. Earlier this year, Somaliland also said that there were no such talks. So maybe there are talks, but maybe it's just ideas and some propositions, but they're not actually substantiated just yet. And last week, Indonesia said it was ready to take in 2,000 Palestinians from Gaza for treatment, but they would return to Gaza once they recovered. So this doesn't seem like super legit on that they're making this plan to do this. Netanyahu has never given a detailed vision of what will happen to Gaza after the war, but has repeatedly advocated for resettling displaced Palestinians in other countries, particularly after President Donald Trump floated the idea earlier this year. But even as Trump appears to be cooling on the proposal, Israeli officials have embraced it, if you remember. So if you kind of back up a little bit, the history of the Gaza Strip, Israel, so there are many Palestinians who live inside of Israel. 20-something years ago, the Israeli government gave the Gaza Strip to the Palestinians. The Palestinians then elected Hamas to be over the Gaza Strip. So as of 20-something years ago, the Gaza Strip has totally been the Palestinians. And then whenever war broke out, there were talks of, well, maybe there should be an Arab country that governs the region. What do we do? Where are we going to put these people? Do they stay there? Do they govern themselves? Does Israel govern them? Well, the Arab countries don't like the idea of Israel governing them. And the Arab countries haven't been so very interested, like Jordan and Egypt, they haven't been super interested in governing Gaza themselves. And President Trump this year said, hey, what we'll do is the United States will temporarily occupy Gaza and we'll govern it, and then we'll hand it off to someone else after that. Well, that kind of made everybody mad inside the Middle East. They were like, we don't want the U.S. president to govern inside of the Middle East. So then the Arab countries came back to the table and they said, hey, well, maybe we'll take in, Gazans. Maybe we'll kind of govern the land. It hasn't gone very far since then. And then now President Netanyahu has said, hey, we're actually going to go in. We're going to occupy Gaza. And then we're eventually going to turn it back to the Arab countries. In an interview published on Tuesday, Netanyahu said, we are talking to several countries. He claimed in the interview that they're not pushing out Palestinians, but they would instead be allowing them to leave. There has been a conflict, a controversy about this. Many people are saying, hey, the Palestinians want to live there. This is their homeland. This is where they grew up. They want to live in the Gaza Strip. And then there are other people who say, no, the Palestinians they want to leave, but Hamas is not allowing them to leave. There's probably a mixture of these different groups of Palestinians inside of the Gaza Strip. All those who say they're concerned for the Palestinians and want to help Palestinians, Netanyahu said, should open their doors. Why are they coming and preaching to us? Open your doors. The comments come as international alarm grows over Israel's stated plan to take over Gaza City, home to more than 1 million Palestinians. Talks about how densely populated it is. More than 100 humanitarian organizations, meanwhile, call on Israel to end what they called the weaponization of aid in Gaza, saying vital relief was not being allowed in while the territory is gripped by starvation. So in the plan to take over Gaza City and ultimately take over the rest of Gaza, they have laid out, it's like 5 points they want to put in. They said they want to put in humanitarian aid. They want to put the displaced Palestinians in other countries. Then they want to bring them back maybe, and then have the Arabs rule over it. But this is really big news in terms of these countries that are involved, but it kind of seems from the article they're not really that involved in taking in Palestinians. So we'll see where this goes. What do you think? Do you think that the other countries, that there are going to be countries that step up and bring in the Palestinians? Do you think the Palestinians should even be taken to these other countries? What do you think is going to happen with Israel, with Hamas? I want to know your opinion. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with a friend. I'll see you next time.